Hello, how are you doing? Good afternoon. I'm Bishop Dr. Carla Dunbar, and this is Love Online. Yes, today we are going to be talking about something very important, boundaries in a relationship. Right. I think it's important to talk about that because too many times we're not sure where to draw the line between our family members and friends, and we don't seem to understand that it's us against the world kind of thing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So hurry up and join, and hurry up and share, and with your friends, and like and hit the notification button so that we can get into the meat of the matter. While I'm waiting on you for just a few minutes, let me just say prayer breakfast is up on Saturday, the 8th staging of the Carla Dunbar Ministries International Family Prayer Breakfast. That is up, right? And so on Saturday morning, we invite you all to come on up, buy a ticket and come on up and share with us, intercede with us on behalf of the nation's family and marriages, because we're under attack, right? But we are not going to give up. We are going to fight with everything that is within us, right? So that is coming up on Saturday, right? So as I said, we're going to talk today about boundaries in relationship, how important it is to set boundaries in the relationship, right? And I want to also tell you that if you have questions, I want you to be able to post them in the chat, and one of my staff can probably pick them up so that I can look at what your questions are probably in another session, or so I can probably pay attention to the things that are pertinent to you. So if you have questions, you can also always type them in the chat, right? And then we can look at those. Right. So we're talking about boundaries in relationship. Why we need to set boundaries, like I said earlier, we need to set boundaries because there are in-laws and outlaws, and there are friends and there are associates. And we do not always get the sense of it's a us against the world. So it is two becoming one and not too many. Yes, we are married, but I'm not married to your entire family, kind of a thing. And so that's kind of like a thing. So you need to know, you need to understand that that is so important, right? And it is going to create a challenge if it is that you are not paying attention to the thing that you're supposed to be paying attention to, and you are allowing all sorts of intrusion in your relationship that is affecting the equilibrium of your relationship, right? You have to pay attention. You cannot be one with anybody else apart from your spouse. You cannot be one with your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your grandparents, or even your children that you have together. You can't be one with your children. You're only biblically allowed to be one with your spouse, right? And even lawfully, because you can't marry the children, right? And it is only in the union of marriage that there is a oneness. There's no oneness outside of that, right? So you have to understand that. And when you understand that you put boundaries in place that will not allow for your relationship to be affected by intruders or intrusions. I think I said it to you the other day when we were doing the in-laws, that I don't generally just turn up at my children's home. I don't do it because them have a life. I'll call to say I'm coming, or if I can come. They don't stop me, no. But I'm just saying, yeah. Um, you don't just turn up like that. They generally know because it's an intrusion. Them married for leave and cleave, and they're supposed to be building their own life together, right? And so neither do I try to be a burden to them either. So boundaries. And what are boundaries though? Boundaries show where one thing ends and another thing begins. As it is with your marriage and relationship. Marriage begins a new life, a new chapter in life, right? And so there is that. And it also helps spouses to define what each person is comfortable with. So there are things that are being done that are not comfortable with. So you have a friend or friends, that are not comfortable with your friends just coming over and coming in, and not comfortable with your parents just walking in to the house or calling anytime. I've known of parents calling on people honeymoon, because they believe that they should have all access or unlimited access to you because you are their children. And so they call anytime in the middle of the night. They pop over, the middle of your love making. And if you share house with them, because sometimes that can happen, them just push the door because they're not understanding. Perhaps because that not going for them anymore in that department. Them not think it going for you. So they just barge in. It's improper. You understand? You're having challenges in your relationship. They are afraid to the challenges and they just impose themselves without saying, you want me to say something or something like that. Right? So that is what it is. And so how do you set boundaries in relationships now? You talk about them. Talk about them. If the thing continues to happen and you continue to not say anything and just sulk and full of attitude, how will your spouse know what offends you? Because you're assuming that your spouse ought to know. But if your spouse does not take offense to the thing, how would they know that it offends you? And so conversation is so important in setting boundaries in relationship, right? And it doesn't mean that you're even going to just chuck it upon them to say, man, I like when your parents come over, or you can't tell a brother for so and so, and you can't tell a friend, say, don't call you at this time of the night, or something like that. No. It's respectfully conveying to your spouse the things that offend you or makes you uncomfortable. Must be offensive, but it makes you uncomfortable based on the definition of the word offense. I have to be cautious about how I use it, right? Because there's semantic range of the word, right? Only in the English language it might mean one thing. So yeah, so you talk about it. So if it is that there is you have friends that's calling you or texting you hours a night, then boundaries need to be set. You need to tell your spouse that you're uncomfortable with that, and then your spouse need to pay attention to that too. Make sure same friends them know or her friends them know, say, look here, don't call at a certain time, right? Or if something has happened that has offended your spouse can tell you, or you can tell your spouse that, listen, I don't like when you do this particular kind of a thing, or I don't like when you run them kind of joke here, like especially the male sex. You run we call them coarse jokes, right? And if there is some form of insecurity in your relationship, right, or something, then you need to let your spouse know. If your spouse is uncomfortable with something, with a kind of conversation that you have, that probably it is totally nothing wrong, with the conversation as far as you're concerned, because you're not doing anything. But the thing is, if it is affecting your relationship because it's affecting your spouse, then it's your responsibility to put a boundary in place. It is your friend, so your spouse not supposed to tell your friend what they don't like. It is your parents, so your spouse not supposed to tell your parents what they don't like, because then there's going to be resentment. You understand? When you do the talking to the people who are creating the offense, probably unknowingly, then it happens. So conversation, man. Conversation. I cannot empathize it enough that the conversation, that you need to talk with the emphasis on talking, right? You need to talk about the things. So think about it. What is it that is offending in the relationship, right? What is it that your partner is doing? What is it that your partner's family is doing? What is it that your partner's friends are doing that, or even that your partner doing that is creating an issue in the relationship? Why not have an honest and open conversation about it in a very respectful way, where your spouse don't feel like they're being attacked, but that they understand that because this is important to you, you want to talk about it. Why not have that honest and open conversation, about it? Because if it is that you talk about it, then it can be alleviated. I remember I wrote a chapter in a book written by Bishop Valentine Rodney, and I wrote the chapter on offense. What causes offenses in marriage? I think the book is entitled Prescription for Relationships, so named probably after my prescription for sex. But I wrote a chapter in that book on what creates offenses and how you can deal with offenses in relationship, right? And so I'm saying that you just need to talk about the stuff that happens and put boundaries in your relationship, right? There are different types of boundaries, and I can't go into all of them because remember, this is a 30-minute live, right? But there are different kinds of boundaries. There are physical boundaries, right? You have to determine what is important to you. There are sexual boundaries. There are emotional, mental boundaries, sort of like you talk about emotional needs. There are spiritual boundaries, there are financial and material boundaries, and there are time boundaries, and then there are some non-negotiable boundaries. You understand? Non-negotiable boundaries are like unfaithfulness and those kind of things, non-negotiable. We do not do wife swapping or husband swapping in Jamaica. That's not a part of our culture, right? We don't facilitate cheating and that kind of a thing. We don't. Secrets are not supposed to be a part of any relationship, right? We not do that here. So if you know any other culture where it happens, it doesn't happen here. We don't tolerate that kind of a thing, right? But yeah, you can put in the boundaries that you need to put in the relationship, because we all of us need boundaries. It keeps us safe. It keeps the relationship safe. It also differentiates you from me. And as I've said before in some of our past Love Online, we are different. And so the boundaries is what makes us different. It tells you how different I am from you. You understand? So not only does it keep the relationship safe and all of that, but it differentiates you from me. And nobody wants to be the same in any relationship. You understand? And it also helps us to focus on what is most important to us on the premise of the kind of boundaries that you are willing to set in your relationship. Dr. Henry Cloud, I believe, has written a very good book on it. I've not gotten the opportunity to read it. I do own one. I like buying books. Sometimes, though, probably is when I retire, I go get to read most of them. But I do like physical books, so I buy it. But Dr. Henry Cloud has written a good books if you want to know more about boundaries. That's a good book, Boundary in Marriage. He has a set of books on boundaries. But I have the one on marriage. I just haven't been able to look at it. But you can look at it. So boundaries, it helps us to focus on what is most important. It also improves your relationship by creating clear expectation. One of the things we do in premarital counseling is we talk about expectation. When you set boundaries in a relationship, it improves the relationship because the expectations are now clear and the responsibilities are now clear because you have spoken about them, right? And I know sometimes it can be hard to figure out what kind of boundaries you need to set in your relationship, but you can still figure it out. And I think one of the most common ways to identify your boundary is to think of the areas where you're experiencing an issue, like I talked about earlier. So if there are issues with in-laws, issues with friends, issues with text message that comes in and secrecy and all of that kind of a thing, then those are places where you need to ensure that you put boundaries there. You need to insert boundaries there, right? So if you feel resentful about intrusions and stuff like that, each of these problems is telling you. In one of my coaching tool is talking about learning from your emotions and understanding what your emotions are telling you. So when you feel uncomfortable and you feel resentful about something, it's time to insert a boundary. Not true? All right. So yeah, we're watching time. So you understand, so it's important. I know how you're doing. Bless you. Althea, how you doing, my dearest? Good to see you. Lady Marvet, all the way over there in Jericho. How you doing? And Andrea, good afternoon. How you doing? Deb Angelica, good to see you. True, not true. Suzette Coley, how you doing? Hi, good afternoon to you too. It's good to see you. Good to see you all. Join us online, Lady Kenisha, Lady Sharice. It's good to see all of you online. Remember, I said to you, if it is that you have questions that you want to ask, you can post them in the chat, and we'll collate them and we can look at them either one at a time, or I can probably, going forward, we may be able to set a segment where I can just deal with your questions particularly, right? But yeah, I wanna do all I wanna. What's going on over here? So yes, Mr. Tech, how you doing? And Donette, how you doing? And Miss Dino, how you all doing? Wonderful, good to see you. You see that I'm feeling a little bit better today. I'm a little bit more upbeat. I'm gonna just pray that it keeps this way for the rest of the week, because we'll have some territories for tear down on Saturday, and I cannot take any intrusion. That's where my boundaries going now, right? I'm going no intrusion into what is supposed to happen this Saturday with the prayer breakfast, right? So remember again, set the boundaries. What the boundaries that are important to you? Yes, you need to know what they are. How you know, how you identify what they are. Keep feeling like something calling on me. How you identify what they are is to think about where you are most uncomfortable, or where you're experiencing problems in your relationship, and that's where you need to set the boundaries. So if it's with in-laws, if it's with friends, if it's with secrets in the relationship, then these are the areas that you need to pay attention to and put the boundaries in place, right? And remember, I had identified for you the 7 most common types of boundaries that exist, right? And what they do. They keep you safe. So just because we never know about them, that means to say them not important. Knowledge is powerful. And the word of the Lord says through the prophet Hosea, my people suffer because of lack of knowledge. A lot of the things we were not taught, a lot of the things we caught going into our relationship, so we don't implement them, and we wonder why we have the kinds of challenges that we have in our relationship. But when you know, breakthroughs have been done, studies have been done, it reveals some of the things. That's why you have theories and theorists. So we identify the things that are problematic in your relationship, and then we help you to level them out, so that you can enjoy a better quality of relationship, and you can have greater levels of harmony in your marriage and your relationships. You understand? Because now you identify what the problem is. Anika, looking nice. Don't go and pray, girl. Yeah. I Miss Saint Thomas, how you doing, sweetheart? Yes, looking good. I want to stay this way. For the last couple of weeks I've not been, yeah, but I guess it's the knowledge that we're going to be interceding, and it giving me the impetus to the strength. You know, I've been praying for strength because I have to execute. So thank you so much, and thank you for the prayers as well, because I have to execute, right? So that's what's going on over there. So good. So just understand what it is, right? Like I said, it improves the relationship. So if you can identify them, then talk to your spouse about them. Sit down and have this nice sharing conversation. Do not accuse your spouse of anything. Just talk to your spouse. Share what is a concern for you. Babes, you know, the other day when this happened, I feel one kind of way. Don't tell your spouse that you make me feel this way, or your parents do this. No. Talk about how you feel without pointing a finger at the in-laws or pointing a finger at the friends. Talk about how it makes you feel. Your spouse will be concerned about how it's affecting you. But when you start picking out people and going like you're going at them, they may not be very interested to listen to you, because they don't see it your way. But once your spouse loves you and something is a concern for you and it's affecting you, your spouse doesn't want you to be affected. A lot of the times when offense is created in relationship, it is not because it was intended, it is because it happened, or it was created unknowingly. A lot of the time spouses don't know that they are being an offense. So do not accuse your spouse when you're trying to put the boundaries in place. Just tell him how you feel, And perhaps you could ask the question, babes, how you think we could deal with this? Or, babe, I think we could do this. We could tell your mom not to call before 8 o'clock if we get like an early morning 6 o'clock, or not to call after certain hours at night because it's our family night, or which night is, or whatever. Just soft ways of disseminating the information so that they get it. If you think that your spouse is spending too much on them parents are on, you not agree, because remember, says phone no money or not, right? So you can point it out in a different way and say, babe, remember, we are saving towards X, Y, and Z, and I think let us put a set amount together as to what we will do, give to them, or something like that. You understand? So yeah, don't make accusation, Deb Angelica, right? You're responsible for how you feel and how you react to it. That's what I tell persons all the time. You can't say you make me feel. You have to say this is how I feel when this happens, right? Because nobody controls your emotion and your reaction. You are responsible for those things. So yeah, so that's what we're talking about today, right? So boundaries. So I hope you got something from that. And if it is that you need to send me a question, post something, then definitely we'll be able to respond to that, right? But in the meantime and between time, again, I ask you to like, share, hit the notification bell, spread the word far and wide. Love Online is online at Wednesdays at 12 noon, which means that in another country it's going to be at a different time. It will be 1 o'clock in the States, right? And in other parts of the world, it would be different times. But share it and follow us at Carla Dunbar Ministries on Facebook, YouTube, IG, right? Twitter. All of the handles are Carla Dunbar Ministries. Join us on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. at Carla Dunbar Ministries or LTMI.org or Life Temple Ministries for our family fellowship. This Sunday morning, we are going to be on Zoom because prayer breakfast, and we believe in balance, and we believe that our members must rest if we come out to prayer breakfast. We're not legalistic in our approach to our family fellowship. So we're going to be on Zoom. If you want the link to the Zoom, you can indicate to us as well, and that can be had. If you're still interested in buying breakfast and supporting the prayer breakfast, it's $5,000 per ticket, and you can get where we're located. Or if you want to join online, it's only 3,000 Jamaican dollars or 25 US dollars, and we will send you the link. If you go to Spur Open, the link is on the thing. Well, it's not on this one, but it's Spur Open. I don't see that's SpurOpen.com, and that's not the link. The link is SpurOpen.com/family prayer breakfast or something, right? The poster that is posted there don't have the correct link, but it's on Spur Open, and you look for the family prayer breakfast, right? And you can purchase your ticket there, and yeah, and you can support us. Remember also that our Lovathon comes up on May 28th. May 28th, we have Lovathon, and that is where we are continuing our project of building a home for a homeless mother with a set of twins in St. Catherine, Clarendon. Right. So Lovathon is a telethon where we are inviting you to join us for a full day, 7 a.m. to midnight. It's going to be very informative. It's very informative. We have a number of speakers who are on. Kristen Tomlinson, a lot of medical doctors, pastors who have consented, Pastor Al Miller, different persons who are, slated to come on and speak about different things. Women's health, men's health, child's health, all sorts of different things right throughout the day. And we have entertainers as well. And you call in to donate, to transfer, to pledge towards us, helping us to offset that cost. Also, we have Deborah's Courtyard coming up next week, Saturday morning at 7 a.m. And I believe God is going to give me a word for you. So Deborah's Courtyard is here and online at 7 a.m. And so you can join for that. And what a time we had in the gym on Saturday, on Sunday, God, Jesus. It was a time in the gym, trust me. I laughed till I almost dropped off of my seat. I'm never so well. So it was really great. And so you can join us at the gym on a fourth Sunday evening at 4 p.m. here or online. It's a free date evening, free refreshments. And so you need to take advantage of the things that we are offering you to help to sustain your marriage, because that's what CDMI does. We sustain marriages, we procure them too, because we create families, and we maintain and restore them, right? So until next time, right? We are right on the wire. Big up yourself. Not true, so Pastor Philip Johnson. Oh, you're going over there, sir. Yeah. Big up yourself. Big up yourself. See, I hope to see you on Saturday morning, my good friend. Right? So yeah, that's where it's at. Set some boundaries if you're being uncomfortable in a relationship, so that the relationship can look smoother and you can enjoy a little more quality of harmony, and sex can be greater and intimacy can be greater and all of that, because you're not so defensive and offensive and resentful, because you have spoken to your spouse nicely and respectfully, and you have allowed for them to know what's affecting you in the relationship and what's disrupting the equilibrium of your harmony in your relationship. All right? Until next week, Wednesday, or until I see you for prayer breakfast on Saturday morning. This is Bishop Dr. Carla saying tata for now from Love Online.